Hey guys, this is James.
This is Denny from TeaDB bringing you guys episode 266. And today, we're drinking some black tea.
Yes. We are drinking some tea from Valerie over at Teaside, so thank you to him. And for those of you who didn't catch our episode on the Chiang Rai Pu'er, this tea is he specializes in teas produced mainly in Chinese styles, but produced in Thailand.
Right.
So this is a black tea that's produced in a Yunnanese style of black tea. So Dianhong is, I believe, what that stands for. And how's it smell?
It smells kind of similar, yeah.
Yeah, actually, this smells a lot more normal to a black tea now that you've rinsed it. The dry leaves had a rather
kind
interesting,
of a funky,
vinegary aroma to it. Yeah, in fact, still smelling the bag, and the material of it looks quite nice.
It really does. Big, beautiful leaves. I don't want to overbrew this, but I also want to give it enough that we really get into the tea on the first steeping here, so that's going to call that good. I definitely eyeballed the amount of leaves, so this is nice, long, fluffy leaves, and so from a volume perspective, it did fill up pretty much the whole gaiwan, and gosh, I might have used a little bit too much and steeped it for a little bit too long. We'll see. A little bit of variety in the amount of oxidation that's been gotten onto these leaves here.
Right, so some of them are a little darker than others.
Yeah.
The color of it doesn't look off to me, at least.
No, not at all. And it smells very much like a traditional Yunnan black.
Similar to Oriental Beauty, sort of like silky, pretty aromatic, sweet.
Yeah. Let's give it a shot.
Cheers.
I'd say it's texturally quite light.
It is, yes.
It's got that sort of earthy graininess of a Yunnan black. I think it's just a little bit light still.
It's a little bit unclear what year or harvest this is from. It's not quite as crisp as you would expect for something recently harvested, so I'm guessing this might be older than 2017, not positive. Yeah,
I agree. I think that there's it's transitioning into something a little bit different than what would traditionally be if it were drank immediately. I'm gonna let this hang out for a second here. I'd rather, I guess, this is the kind of tea that I feel like I'm gonna understeep as opposed to oversteep. I thought this first steeping would have been a little bit stronger. Nevertheless, when you're starting out, I mean, we did one rinse and then hung out for a second. So with black teas and green teas too, you're kind of expecting your second, third, and fourth steepings to be the most potent. These teas don't have nearly as much longevity as an oolong or a pu'er tea. So be attentive when you're brewing because you kind of only have a few shots.
Right.
A lot of leaf.
Wow, that really filled out that gaiwan.
Yeah, the leaves seem to be curled or twisted somewhat a little bit. So, whereas I would use if it were, let's say, just quite small leaves, like maybe sort of traditionally some of these Yunnan blacks are a little bit smaller material. So the amount of tea in the gaiwan itself would have been much smaller.
Right.
I kind of eyeballed this thinking, okay, this looks like about right given how fluffy this tea is, and I mean, it's really filled up the gaiwan quite a bit. So. Yeah.
Would you say that there are characteristics in this that would give it away as not being Yunnan black?
It didn't quite taste like one, so yes, but it'd be hard to. I need to continue drinking to figure it out.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. And who knows? This might be different.
It really smells like a Yunnan black. I will say that.
Texture's improved immediately now. It doesn't have quite the same strength of sweetness.
Totally agree.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit drier and just like a little bit more earthy. It's kind of funny. This is almost like what I anticipated the wooey that we had last episode to taste like, more of those earthier, rockier flavors as opposed to sweet. That last one was quite sweet, for me at least, and this one tends not to be quite as sweet.
Yeah, you taste some of the tannins in this one as well.
I mean, it's definitely in that realm. I mean, it's not like we're not tasting those flavors, though. They're just not quite as sweet, not quite as acorny, or
or like that corn sweetness that you sometimes get.
Just a little bit more dry, not bitter, but not sweet. I don't know if this would pass the mom test. A little hint of some floral aftertaste going on. I don't know. What do you think? Mom test?
It'd do okay, I think. I mean, I think there are probably better candidates for the mom test, but I don't think this would do poorly necessarily.
Not off-putting. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
It's certainly not flavors that are challenging or hard to approach, but I think the sweetness that some people expect from some of these black teas is definitely not there still.
Yeah, and I wonder, wow, okay, that's pretty dark. I wonder how this would have been if we tasted it freshly harvested. I wonder, the material of it does really look quite good. The smell of it at points smells pretty right on.
So. I don't think it's a matter of the quality of the tea. I think it's just that it's not actually a Yunnan black. You know,
yeah.
I mean, it's prepared in that style, but the leaves that don't, they're just not as sweet tasting. So that's okay.
Yeah.
It's still interesting. I'm still, like I said, I'm experiencing a lot of those flavor profiles. It has a little bit of that sort of just desert, dusty, earthy smokiness to it.
Yeah, a bit more tannic. Definitely a little drier, as Denny said. The lingering flavor isn't super sweet either, so it's a little bit slower to convert. Like, for instance, the Wooey last episode, I think we both found it varying degrees of sweet, but the aftertaste and how it lingered in the mouth was definitely sweet. This one's a little bit more of a mixed bag.
I think this tea really it's coming into that category a little better now. Still not very sweet, but it tastes more like a Yunnan black to me at this point. I think this tea just needs some time to get there, and maybe a fair amount of heat in a long steep time, because I mean, you saw how dark that was.
Yeah, this is actually pretty extreme brewing parameters for a black tea on the show. Yeah.
This is an interesting tea. It's not the case that all of these teas are going to taste, you're not going to get a hot, Hawaiian dong ding style, whatever the heck that even means. That doesn't even make sense, but something like that, a roasted oolong, it's not going to taste like a dong ding. It's going to taste a little bit different. That's okay. It doesn't mean it is bad. This is interesting. I'd say it's like, it's sort of like, I don't know if you've ever, it's not quite like that. For an inappropriate analogy, I was going to say, it's kind of like when you have a glass of water and milk. You think you're drinking the water, but you drink the milk, and it's sort of like, whoa. Your body kind of is primed for one thing, and then the experience of the other thing is a little bit strange. This sort of has me primed for that Yunnan black flavors, and then it's kind of a little bit of a bait and switch. So not quite the same.
Water or milk?
Exactly. I don't know. I don't know. But pretty tasty, nevertheless. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, it's quite interesting to taste some of these teas harvested in Thailand in Chinese styles, because some of them, like the pu'er we had, I don't think I could have told the difference between that and like a Yunnan pu'er. But this, you are the more experienced black tea drinker than I am, and it tastes a little bit off. If it were me, I would have guessed that this is just maybe a little bit stale.
Exactly.
From a couple of harvests. I don't, I
think it's in the category correctly. It just is a little bit off. Again, so that's sort of misleading, because I don't want people to think that it's bad.
It's definitely not bad.
We're just talking more about how does this compare to a more traditional tea is trying to go for.
Yeah, and the leaves look really incredible, actually. They look probably much better than your average Yunnan black in a lot of ways. So,
I mean, this thing is completely full. So it's handling a lot of heat, handling a lot of leaves quite well. I agree about the quality. True. I think it's another sort of indicator there. Look at that color.
It has a really strong, lingering mouthfeel. Unfortunately, it's just not as sweet as I would personally enjoy.
Yeah. Nice aroma. I'd say this is one of a little bit of a more challenging tea. Definitely wouldn't be a daily drinker for me. So something more just kind of like interesting to try, a novelty, if you will. Oh god. Anyway, we're gonna give this a shot. I think this is the fifth steeping.
Yeah, sure.
I like that. Cheers. lightening up a little bit. It's just not quite getting over the hill for me in terms of getting to that Yunnan flavor profile.
Yeah.
It's still good though.
Yeah, I'd say it's like 80% of the tea of like a Yunnan Black that you'd get from Scott or someone like that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, it's good. It's not quite there.
It's not something that you're going to get a good sense of the category for if you've never had a Yunnan Black. Let's put it that way. I think that it would give you a hint, but not put you all the way there.
Yes, if you've had a Yunnan Black, this might be an interesting taste to see what material from a little bit away is from Yunnan would taste like.
Exactly. Yeah. Where can folks pick this up, James?
Yeah, you could go to tea-side.com. Valerie is sourcing all kinds of teas from Thailand. And they're mainly processed in Chinese style. So there are oolongs, there are black teas, there are pu'er-like teas. So definitely go check him out. I think there's a lot of interesting teas for those that are pretty deep into tea and want to taste what the terroir is like outside of the...
And check our episode whatever it was.
Yeah, episode whatever. Chiang Rai Pu'er. It's maybe a month ago. So yeah, check that out.
Yeah, quite good. I think we both really enjoyed that too. Definitely interesting and fun. If you folks want to learn more about teas in general, check us out at TeaDB.org. We have videos on the weekly, article content, social medias. And for people who have been wondering about if James is really taller than I am, I actually use anyone who's wondering if James, we got some comments about if James is taller than I am, and actually I just use pads, so here's my real height. Anyway, well, I don't know why I brought this up. We'll see you guys next time. We're going to bring on some a Hunan tea next time, so stay tuned. We'll see you then.
Cheers.